Hello everyone, and welcome to my first BeeStation 13 tutorial. So, you downloaded Beyond. How do you start? Well, the first thing you do is you hit this gear up here, and it's going to open a drop-down, which you can't actually see, so I will enable that. Okay, there we go. So it's going to open a drop-down, you're going to hit Login, and then you need to go create an account, so hit Get an Account, make your account, log in, all that, and then hit Login. Now, you're going to want to find a server. So the BeeStation 13 website has a ton of servers and like different information about it, but all of my tutorials are actually going to be on BeeStation because it's the first server I played and I really like it. So I'm actually going to start off on BeeStation Acacia because that is their overflow server and it will have less players so that I can show you guys around. So this is BeeStation Acacia right here. And you just hit join. All right, so once that loads up, you're going to get faced with something like this. Just close it. And then you'll probably see something like this, or you might have a ready button. But the first thing you're going to do is you're going to want to hit set up character right here. So you hit that. And then I already have a character. So I'm just actually going to go to the new slot here because I've not done anything with this character. And I can make some choices. So you can name your character and all that. So usually you can just spam random if you don't have one in mind. Find one you like. So I'm just going to go with that. Do be advised there are some naming guidelines on BeeStation. So, and you should also read the rules of any server you're joining as a first step. But these are the BeeStation naming guidelines. So humans should have normal human names that won't raise an eyebrow. So most players should probably start as a human if they don't want to play as specifically another race, because the other races do have a bit of weird quirks. But you can always be a felon. So yeah, you can just enter different different traits and things like that. And then if you plan on playing any of these specific roles, you should definitely pick like names for these, specifically like the clown or the mime or cyborgs. So like for example, with my character Cat, I have my cyborg named this. And then you have your body, so you can do a little bit of customization there. So the main thing that you're going to touch, actually, once you get all this sorted, is right here, your set occupation preferences, and then right after that, your quirks. So quirks are just little advantages and disadvantages you can pick for your character. So for example, a pacifist can't attack anyone, but that gives you 2 like good points. So I can go up to the good section and get, say, multilingual or night vision. Or free running, so I can climb tables faster. But on my main character, I actually don't use many quirks just because there's not a lot of good ones. So I just have night vision, light drinker. Light drinker is not very bad. So this is your main thing. So set occupation preferences. So when you start off, you're not going to have any of. That was the server ending, so it always plays those stupid sounds when the round ends. So you can actually pick your occupation preferences here. So for now, you just want to start as an assistant. So you're going to do that, and you can have high, low, medium, and this is how it'll roll at round start, which role you will get. And then you want to hit save setup here once you're done customizing your character. So yeah, I know the server just restarted because this popped up, or that, I don't know. Anyways, you can join, and then look at all these positions that are open because no one's online. So you're going to want to join as an assistant to get started.
Welcome to BeeStation.
All right, now you're faced with this very massive and very overwhelming load of buttons. So the first thing you do is you hit this button. That's going to unbuckle you from your seat. Now, see how this is red here? It means you're tabbed into it. So you hit tab, and now you're in control of your character, and you can use W, A, S, and D to move around. So to walk through doors, you just walk into them until they open. You can also click on them, and that'll open it. You have to be standing next to it, though. It's a very loud shuttle, I know. All right. So as an assistant, you're what people You do not want to be what people call a great hider. This is somebody who comes in as an assistant and just makes a fuckload of trouble for no reason. You are an employee of Nanotracin. You do have to actually be helpful, and you should not be trying to, kill the antagonists or kill other crew members just because. There are rules. I would highly recommend reading the BeeStation rules, which, you must role play, do your job, have a reasonable name, don't power game, which is just trying to kill the bad guys basically. As an assistant, you really shouldn't be doing any combat unless you're doing RP combat. Do your job as an assistant. You need to be useful. Yep. And then just other reasonable stuff. Griefing, big thing. Don't grief. And self-antag, which is being the bad guy when you're not actually the bad guy. So you won't actually be the bad guy unless you explicitly go enable being the bad guy. So that's in your, I believe, your OOC, your game preferences, which you can find here as game preferences. So here's where you can select what you want to be for your special roles. So for example, I have trader off because I actually hate being trader. I prefer things like, and changeling, I have that off, but I prefer a lot of the other roles. I like to be blob. So that's those. There's also the Bitcoin shop where you can buy some basic customizations that will spawn with your character when you start. And then there's just some of these. Another thing, if you join and there's music playing, you can silence MIDIs because admins like to play stuff. So this is the station. Now you're probably confused by the rest of this. So first thing you're also going to want to do is press right here. So that'll open your wearable inventory. And then this right here will have a bunch of actions depending on the items you're holding or have equipped. So mainly you'll have this PDA action for your light. But a lot of times you'll have mask up or down if you have a mask. So okay. The inventory system in this game is really confusing at first, and you're not going to understand it. It's all based around hands, and you have to have a free hand in order to actually do things. So if you have this box in your hand, right, and you want to use your PDA, it's not going to work. You need to switch hands. So you can hit X or middle click to do that, or you can also just click on the other hand. But you have to click on the outline, not the item in the hand. So if you click on this item, it's just going to open it. So now I have my open hand. I can click on my PDA, and it moves it to my hand because it was in my belt slot before. So now I hit this, and it opens my PDA, and I can do a bunch of things. So, for example, if you got a job change in your ID, you can hit Update PDA Info, and it'll update your info. There's also the messenger, so you can actually message people on here. So if I wanted to message another person, I can just go test, but I'm not going to send that. You can actually turn off your ringer and all that. And then the note keeper is another useful thing. If you actually click on a piece of paper while holding your PDA, it'll save it to your note keeper. You can also just type things in there. And then as an engineer and other roles, you can actually do an atmosphere scan. And then your flashlight is also here if you want to use it there. So you might have seen me put my ID into the PDA. So that's a big thing to do because normally your PDA is going to be right there and you have an ID there. It's way easier. You can actually eject your ID and put it in. So I can just go boop. And now you need to put your PDA in your ID slot instead. That gives you a whole belt slot to use for a tool belt or something. So a lot of other actions in this game are done by right-clicking. So you right-click and then hover. So you can do all these actions. So the cartridge is actually what determines what the PDA does. But the main action that you're going to do on right-click is examine. So this is a really useful action because it will tell you what stuff does. So I examined it, and now it tells you right here in your chat box exactly what you just did. All right, so the next main action you're going to make is talking. How do I talk to people? It's really easy. Press T. Now you type your text. Hey there. Oh yeah, so what I'm doing right now is I'm holding control and pressing the move direction, and that will actually make you turn instead of moving in that direction. So that's really useful. You can also click on the floor, but that one's not always working because there might be something you want to click. So another thing you're going to need to know about is internals. So if you're in a place with no atmosphere, okay, so somebody actually just came up to me and is now talking to me. So here's people. So a big thing you're going to want to know is LOOC. So if you want to talk to somebody out of character, you can actually go down here and you can type in LOOC and then hit space and it'll do that for you. And then you can just type your message and hit enter. Okay, so yeah, that's how you talk to people, and it'll show above your head, which is really nice, but you can also look down here, and it'll say their name as well. You get that from their ID and their face. So like for roleplay reasons, you just looked at their face and you know their name, because these are your coworkers. So another huge thing you're going to need to know about is your radio. So this is your radio headset. If you open it up right here, there's all these buttons. And if you have access to other channels, it'll have like encryption keys here you can enable or disable. And if you're command, there will be a high volume button that'll make your chat all big. But for now, you're an assistant. So if you want to type on the radio, you just hit T and then you put a semicolon before your message. So then you can just say test. And now you can see that's on the radio and everyone can see it. So back to the internals thing. Sorry, I got distracted. So if you're in a place with no atmosphere or low oxygen, or there's some contaminant in the air, here's what you do. You have this internals box that will always be in your backpack. So to open your backpack, you just click on it with an empty hand. Another pro tip, if you want to click on containers, open containers, you can alt click on them. So for example, if you wanted to take off your backpack, here's how you do it. You drag it into an open hand. So you can drop that on the floor. See, now you have a container on the floor. You can actually open containers on the floor without picking them up. You alt click on it. And then you can alt click on the box in here as well. Because normally if you do that with an empty hand, it's going to take it in your hand. Instead, you can alt click into it. And you could try alt clicking on other items. That just does their like special interaction. So for this mask, it actually switches it between up and down mode. So anyways, internals. You can put this mask on right here in your mask slot. Now you have a mask you can put up and down. So if you wanted to eat food, you have to have your mask down. And then you need a tank. So the tank can either go on your back slot if you have a larger tank, but since this is a small tank, you can put it in your pocket. It just has to be in one of these 4 slots. It can't be in your back. Now you can press this button. See, now you're breathing through the tank, and it's going to show right here if you open status, your tank pressure. And the tank pressure is actually like going to go down as you breathe through it. So take that off. Put my backpack back on. All right. So this is the kitchen right here. So that's where you can get food. So eating this game, you just pick up the food and then you click on yourself with the help intent. So I haven't really explained intents yet, but so the intents right here, these are your 4 intents. So green here is help, this is push, this is grab, and this is harm. So the main 2 you're going to use is help and harm. And then you can see there's also other buttons here. So the drop button, that's for dropping an item, pretty obvious. Throwing is if you're holding something, you can hit throw, and now it'll be in throw mode. So you click somewhere, and it'll throw it right where you clicked. Rest will make you lay down. And if you're stuck down, you can hit rest a couple times. Resist is, I don't use resist all that much, but you can actually hit resist to, I think, resist like people grabbing you. I barely use it. You can also, like, I think break out of cuffs with it, but I just hit the button up here. There's like a button here when you get cuffed that you can press to get out of. This other thing in your box, the ephedrine MediPen, is not all that useful. It might get somebody out of critical condition just long enough for them to run to medbay, But other than that, ephedrine can actually cause more harm than good in a lot of cases. So the other button here is the walk run button. So walking, the only reason you're really going to want to walk is if you're trying not to slip on something. If the janitor puts water on the floor, for example, you will slip on it if you're running, and that's about it. It'll also make your footsteps really quiet if you're trying to be sneaky, because these footsteps are quite loud. The other thing is your targeting thing here. So if you want to target a specific part of somebody's body, a lot of times you'll do this if you're doing like med-based surgery or healing, but you can also like target somebody's legs to try and knock them over, or their head to try and like one-shot them, that type of thing. But typically you're going to leave your target on their chest. So now I'm going to give you a tour of BeeStation. So there's a lot of different types of stations. I mean, there's a lot of different station maps, so you're going to have to get used to all of them. There's like 5 or 6. But BeeStation is fairly common. So you can navigate using these signs usually. Those are really helpful. I even still use them. So for example, this is security up here. So you won't be able to get through these doors. These are the jail cells, that type of thing. This is a detective's office. Now these are dorms right here. You can tell from these green doors. So this is like your area if you're an assistant, basically. Like this is where you can go to slack off. Main thing, if you want to leave the game, here's how you do it. You find the dorms, you go up here, you find this. This is usually the backest part of the dorms. And you drag yourself into one of these. You just drag in. And then you hit yes, but I'm going to say no. So if you're in cryosleep, it's basically like disconnecting a round. It'll remove your body from the game, and you won't be able to play that round again. So that's, if you need to go, that's how you go. And you can say, like, I'm going to go cryo on the radio. All right, so the other main thing is the shuttle is going to get here at some point. The shuttle is how you end the round, basically. So you see evac, you follow the sign for evac. On BeeStation, it's all the way over here. Past science, past the library, past the church, and here's evac. So there's airlocks here, and the shuttle will just show up right here, like we showed up, like the one we showed up in. That's arrivals. All right, for a basic tour of like things that you're gonna see on the station, this is a light fixture right here. Those just, turn off, on, lights. This right here, if you're on fire, is your lifesaver. So you're going to want to hit that, and it'll put the hose on, and then you can, and that's a fire extinguisher. You'll see a lot of these lockers. If it's really hot, there'll be a temperature symbol right here. You can get a fire suit. So here's another key interface factor. You're going to want to right click, and if you have a pile of stuff and you don't want to like dig through it, you right click and then hit pick up. And now that specific item is in your hand. Then you put that on your head slot. You can also click on an item on the floor to pick it up, and boom. And then you're also going to want a gas mask. This can replace your breath mask. It's a slightly better version. And then you have this tank here. You can put that on your back. You can't do it specifically now, but now this is this can be your internals, and it'll have a lot more space, but it has to stay in your hand because it can't fit in your pocket. It's too big. And that's a fire suit. I'm just going to take it all off, close the locker. You can just click on an empty spot in the locker. So this is the O2 locker. Normally there's a skin suit in there, and the skin suit will actually let you go in space for limited periods of time. You're actually going to want a hard suit if you want to go into space proper. A skin suit will not keep you warm enough or pressurized enough. So as an assistant, your main objective is actually going to be to get a job. So if you want a job, you're going to head over to the hop line, which looks like this. It'll have this. It'll always look like this, basically, but sometimes it's vertical, sometimes horizontal. And you're going to want to talk to a guy right here. Sometimes they aren't there, so what you're going to do is you're going to go on the radio, and you're going to hop to hop line. The hop stands for head of personnel. And then it'll be like, can I be a job? Blah, blah, blah. And then help you. And then here's what you do. Right click your PDA, you go eject ID, you open this glass door here, so you just click D, and you put it on the table. You put it on the table. So tables, you can just click on them to put items onto them. Normal, you can't do that. Only tables do that. Also chairs. If you want to sit on a chair, you just drag your sprite onto it. And then if you want to, there's a couple more type of interactions that you can do. Okay, tools. Tools are really useful. So as an assistant, you're obviously want to get into places. First thing you're going to need, insulated gloves. You're probably only going to find budget ones, but engineering has the good ones. A screwdriver, probably going to want a tool belt, but you probably won't find one. A crowbar, and a multi-tool. So you're going to need all those. Here's the guide to door hacking 101. You don't have access to this door. No, you don't have access to... I gotta find a door I don't have access to. Hold on. This one. Okay. That's a command door, so it's protected. You need a welder to break into there. There we go. Here's a door. So you open the maintenance panel. You're gonna see those. And you get your multi-tool out. Now you're just gonna pulse things until it says the test light is off. So that's not the one we want. So you pulse it again just to fix it. Yeah, so that's why you want good insulated gloves, because that's going to happen. The bad ones won't protect you all that much. Oh yeah, it's still electrified. I forgot. But once you do this once, you won't have to do it again. For at least the round. So you can wait till the door stops being electrified. Yeah, command doors, a lot of them have that protection there. You need a welder to get in, and you need a welding mask. So this is probably good now. Right, so you just pulse. Nope. There, so violet. Now you just want to remember that violet for the rest of the round is going to open doors. And then you use your crowbar on it. Now you're in. So this is the janitor's office. Janitor is a great starting job. So here's how you do it. You just want to grab your mop. Is this the mop? Yes. And then you're going to want this cart. And then you take this bucket. Use it on here, the water tank, and then you just hit your cart with it until it says this, and then you're going to refill the bucket. And then hit your cart. There, now the cart's full. So now you have this janitor cart. So here's, just to show you can hack the door again. So violet. Boom. So now you can do the janitor job. You're also going to want to grab galoshes. I don't actually see those. I think you can get them from the Janny Drobe, because these will prevent you from slipping on a wet floor. So yeah, I can't actually afford galoshes, but you can get a Janny belt and put this in your belt slot, and now you can actually put a bunch of items on it. So I can put this on there, I think. Yep, and I can put this. And then like replacement lights are for fixing the lights. And this is your most useful thing once they get the upgrade researched. So science can actually research something called a floor buffer upgrade, and that will make, you can use it on the cart, and then the cart will be able to clean the floor without getting it wet, so people won't slip. So that's really useful. I'm going to actually take this moment to talk about health. So that door shock kind of got me, right? Sometimes it doesn't work. Okay, so that door shock got me, and now this thing's all orange. So, and I'm all orange right here. So that's the damage on all your body, the parts of your body. So I've got a bunch of burn damage from the electricity. So if you're damaged and you want it fixed, here's what you do. You run over to MedBay, and then you'd be like, can somebody help me? Nobody is online currently to help me, so I'll just show you myself. The first aid kit should have all the items you need. So if I look at myself, you can click on yourself with a health analyzer, and I have 50 burn damage distributed across all my body parts. So in the first aid kit, the only thing you have for burn is ointment, so I'm just going to use ointment. And you're going to want to use it on all the different parts. So that's a thing where you can use this here. And as you can see, it's all clearing up and that's turning green. And now I am fully healed. Yep. This is a stasis bed, so this will actually keep you from taking any like damage or processing any of the reagents in your body until you are removed from it. So that's really useful. And if you're dead, it'll stop your organs from decaying. And this is a sleeper. This will have a lot of free drugs that you can use, but someone else has to administer it, which is the thing. So, but I'll do that all in our like med-based tutorial. So here's how you be a janitor. You find a mess on the floor, for example, this. You pick it up, or mop it. So you go boop, and then you click on it. Now that floor is fresh and clean. And then you can pick up this and take it to a garbage bin. So a garbage bin, a lot of workplaces will have them. They're really easy to spot. I don't actually see one around. Here's one. So this is a garbage bin disposal unit. So just know that garbage units aren't actually like, you don't have to hit engage, but that will send the garbage. So the way the disposal system actually works is it gets sent to cargo. Like it's just sitting in cargo technically now. So it doesn't actually get rid of the bad stuff. So if you want to like get rid of something, I would not throw it in the disposal system. I would hide it on yourself. So that's why you need galoshes right there, because I just tripped. And you'll get up after a couple seconds. So see, now I'm just cleaning up blood. So that's the main thing you're going to do as a janitor. Janitor is a really good starting job as well. It was my first job, basically. So now I'm walking, but I can run. Examining yourself is also pretty useful sometimes, because it'll tell you a lot of information. So if we go to cargo, which is right here, this is cargo. It has these brownish doors. You will actually see the disposal system. So if I just go. Also, you should definitely close the maintenance panels when you're done. I'm just not. So a lot of times they'll show up right here, the disposals. For some reason they have not. But they can actually flip this lever, which will make disposals like go into space. Another thing you're going to see everywhere is fire alarms, APCs, and intercoms. So APCs, these control power in areas. Unless you're an engineer, you can't really mess with them, aside from breaking them. That will break the power in this entire area, basically. Intercom, these are really useful if comms go out. So the radio can actually go down, and I will make a tutorial on how telecoms works. But for now, what you're going to know is if the radio goes down, there's two things you can do. You can get a station-bounced radio. Sometimes these will spawn in your box. Unlikely, but you can find them also around. Security will often have them. And then you can go up to an intercom, and then you type :I, and then your message. And it will take a second, but it will show up over the intercom. I think you have to be standing a little closer to it. So now, yeah. Your message is showing up over the intercom. You can also unmute the intercom, and everything you say around it will show up on the intercom. So that's the intercom. Those are really useful if the comms are down and you want somebody at your location, just yell, "Help, location," and somebody will show up. The fire alarms will trigger all these fire locks. See these red things? So these aren't actually doors. These are fire locks, and they'll go down. All right. So now I'm just going to give a basic rundown of all the departments. So you have medical, kind of obvious what they do. And then there's the service department. So service is like cook, bar, janitors, service. The chaplain is service. The curator in the museum, librarian are service. And those in the chain of command go to the head of personnel. So I'll actually pull up, the chain of command is actually a really useful thing to look at. So this is the chain of command. So here's all the jobs. You as an assistant are the lowest, technically, because you assist everyone, but the service department goes head of personnel, and then the quartermaster, who's in charge of the cargo techs and the shaft miners, and the head of personnel is then also in charge of the rest of the service department. So bartender, this is the supply department. This is the service department. So bartender, chef, mime, clown, janitor, lawyer, chaplain, librarian, and botanist. The botanist is, we passed them. They're like right here as well. This is the botanist right here. They will make plants. They can be useful to chemistry, and they also are used in the kitchen. So there's engineering, who has the chief engineer, and then engineers and atmospheric techs. There's the research and science department. So the research director is in charge of the science, and the roboticist. And then there's the chief medical officer, who's in charge of the doctors, chemist, virologist. And then the science and medical department kind of have a joint custody over the geneticist, who does genetics stuff. And then there's security, so these will be the guys you call if you are dying, although if they will always come, you don't know. It's undetermined, so head of security, and then the warden's kind of like in between, so that it's head of security, then warden, and then the security officers and the detectives. The warden's kind of in charge of them, sort of. And then there's AI and cyborgs, which serve the crew. So they are technically the lowest, although the AI is quite powerful, so I wouldn't discount that. And if you're playing any head of staff, you really should read like your standard operating procedures. And a good tip if you're doing any job is just to search up your job on the wiki. There's always a guide. I just typed assistant. So if you're an assistant, you click here. Here's everything you need to know. Bare minimum requirements, don't be a shitter. So do all these things. Actually assisting people, duties. So you can actually get gimmicks. Just fuck around, do a gimmick. So that's being an assistant. So the rest of the departments, engineering is who you call if you want your stuff fixed. And they also build machinery, manage the atmosphere, fix fires, all this stuff to do the station. So this is telecoms. This is actually where how like the radio works. So it's really complicated. So I won't explain it now, but this is telecoms. Ta-da! All these do radio stuff. And this is the engineering foyer. That's the chief engineer's office. This is atmospheric storage. If you wanted to refill an oxygen tank, this is where you do it. This is the gravity generator on this station. This is that personnel's office. I already showed you security. So this is the bridge. This is where all the command staff can go. But you can't actually get in there, but you can see there's all these consoles. Security's up here. And yeah, that's actually most of the departments. Science was actually right to the right of medical. We passed it. And then the AI actually lives on a satellite that's separate. And that's usually connected to either engineering or the bridge. So I think on this station, it's connected to engineering. It's below it. So this is science. They research stuff for the station and unlock better technologies. So for example, the floor buffer upgrade, you can get it from science. And you'd have to use the service department pro lathe to print that, which I actually don't know where that is on the station. I think it might be somewhere around here. Oh, you know where it is. So finding stuff is actually really hard. So you can actually look up a BeeStation map. So this website right here will actually guide you, will actually help you find places. So you can actually type in /BeeStation / whatever station you're on. If you want to find that, you can just, it's right there, box station. So this is your map of box station, as you can see. So this is a janitor's office. You can find that pretty easily from this map. So if we want the department pro lathe, the service department unfortunately is really confusing. There's another botanist area here. But honestly, I have no clue where the service department lathe is on this map. So if anybody knows, that would be where you print it, the 4 buffer upgrade. If not, you can just pester R&D to give you one maybe. So that's the map, and I think that's about all you can kind of learn as an assistant. There's a couple other things you can do, and you can always ask questions, but really there's not a whole combat in this game is really complicated. I'm no good at it, but you're going to want to switch your intent to harm and then just whack people with stuff. I mean, I can't actually find somebody to whack because that would be self-attacking. But if somebody punches you, hit him back. Don't kill him. And if you spawn as a head, you'll actually start with a gun in your locker, and that's really useful. The main thing is really just don't be a shitter, so don't go up to random people and kill them because you're bored. Do your job, roleplay, all that sort of stuff. I did actually remember another thing you can do. So if you want to give somebody money for various reasons, first thing you do, eject your ID or department budget. This also works with department budgets. You hover over it, click on it. You alt-click on, you're actually going to need an open hand. You alt-click on your ID and then put in a number. So I want $70 out of my account, so my entire balance. And now you have this hollow chip, which you can go up to give somebody. So giving somebody something is actually really, really useful. You can actually give stuff to stuff. Okay, so to give somebody something, you just click on them and hit G. A lot of times people don't actually notice. Let go of me, resist. Stop. Why is he doing this? Okay, this guy obviously knows what he's doing. Accepts offer, and then now give back. People obviously don't know how to do this, which is infuriating. So it's real useful.
Attention.
Bro. Okay. So yeah, a lot of people don't know how to do that, but it'll show up right here and you just click on it to accept. And you can just do that. So if you want to put hollow chips into your account, so you just click on your ID and it'll go with it in your hand. It'll go right into your account. This is a pyroclastic anomaly. These spawn sometimes. They make stuff like that. So that's about all you need to know. Don't go into space or you'll die unless you have a hard suit. And if you have a heart suit on, you put it right here, and then you'll have a button to engage your helmet. You can't have something in your hat slot, and then it'll engage your helmet. It'll go, and then you can run into space. So this guy actually does have a heart suit on, an engineering heart suit right here. That's an engineering heart suit. You can actually tell if you right-click them and hit examine. Engineering heart suit. And it'll just say everything they have on. So this is a plasma fire right here, caused by the pyroclastic anomaly. So plasma is a highly flammable gas. It's purple. You'll be able to tell what it is. So yeah, I think that's everything you need to know for now. That's the basics of Space Station 13. Oh yeah, if you want to get underneath somebody, like if someone's in your way and they're in a doorway, you can either push them, or here's what you can do. You can go rest and then just slide under them. Or you can push. You can also grab stuff and pull it around, so control click will do that. And then now you're dragging something with you. So I was doing that with my cart the whole time. I guess I should have explained that. Oops. This game's like a second language to me, so I guess it's a little hard to explain the basics. So you can actually pull stuff, and you can push stuff just by walking into it. And then you can click on this to stop pulling stuff. I think there's a keybind for that, but I don't know it. There's also a keybind for like drop, throw. You can also walk with the arrow keys. If you're that type of person, what the hell? Huh. I've never seen that happen, I'll be honest. That's really weird. All right, well, I think that concludes this tutorial.